The DPM-RT-2 is a world-leading instrument for measuring the particulates from the raw exhaust of diesel engines on underground mine sites. It provides a simple, fast, real-time result, allowing you to do measurements on the site from the vehicles and get on with operations and make immediate decisions based on those results. Today we're going to look at the various test modes on the DPM-RT-2. Before you do any work using an emissions tester on the mine, obviously you're going to need to review your safety procedures, your risk assessments, make sure you've read all of the literature for each product for the engine manufacturer to make sure it's a safe test. The three test modes are the stall test, free acceleration test, and the continuous mode test. The stall test is for vehicles with a torque converter that can withstand 20 seconds of full power with torque conversion. The free acceleration test is for vehicles that don't have a torque converter that can withstand 20 seconds of torque. That might be a vehicle with a manual clutch or otherwise. And the final test, continuous mode, allows you just to continue testing as long as you wish with no specific instruction. So let's have a look at the stall test for vehicles with a torque converter. The stall test has come from the Mining Diesel Guideline 29 released by the New South Wales Resources Regulator. This document provides an overview of best practice for testing of diesel engines for emissions and is widely adopted across Australia and beyond for testing of diesel particulates. In the MDG 29 guidelines, it discusses for testing of diesel particulates going through a 20-second idle and 20-second full power mode on an engine with the torque converter. The engine temperature must be up to normal operating conditions, and the DPM will take you through those 20-second segments so that it's easier for the operator to get through. The first step is the instrument will perform a zero. This is to measure any ambient particles that may be in the air and make sure we take that off the reading when we're measuring from the raw exhaust. So firstly, it will ask you to put the probe in open air. Here we can enter vehicle, engine and section numbers if you wish. So it's saying get ready, stall test, hold the probe in the open air, so you'll just hold that out in the open. It will run through a test. You'll see any measurements appearing here if it's measuring something ambient in the environment. When performing the zero on the instruments, some customers prefer to already have the probe in the exhaust ready to go. If that's the case, you just need to remove the quick connect fitting at the back of the instrument here, perform the zero, and when that is done, reattach that quick connect fitting coming from the hose. So now we're ready to start the test. The unit will count down and then start measuring. You'll see it is showing idle, and there is a sequence of flashing happening on the instrument and also on the remote. After the 20 seconds, it will get to full power, and that flashing will increase and we'll say full power for the 20 seconds on the instrument here. You can see now we're in full power section, so the flashing has increased on both the remote and on the instrument, and that will run for 20 seconds. And then it will go back to idle, and that will run for a final 20 seconds, completing the stall test. And the test is finished. The next test mode is the free acceleration test. This is for vehicles that don't have a torque converter that can withstand the torque for 20 seconds. Vehicles with the manual clutch and other vehicle types. The Mining Diesel Guideline number 29 takes us through this alternate method, and the sequence of testing is 8 seconds idle, 8 seconds full power, and it goes through that cycle 3 times. So again, the first step will be hit the test mode button, free acceleration test. We can put on vehicle, section or engine details here. It says now unit will be zeroing next, so we want to Perform the zero in open air, which is either having the probe just in the open before being on the exhaust, or we can remove that quick connect fitting from the hose and reattach it. Okay, now our zero is complete. It will now ask us to insert the probe in the exhaust. Get ready, free acceleration test. So to begin with, we're on idle for 8 seconds, and that's indicated by the slower flash, the red label here, and also the flashing sequence on the remote, which you could take into the cab. Now we're up to full power, and that's for 8 seconds as well. Back to idle, and as I mentioned, it goes through 3 times. So it'll build a profile of idle, full power emissions, and then idle again. And now we're into our final run of idle, full power, and then we finish on idle one last time. The test is complete. And the final test mode we're going to talk about is the continuous mode test. This is just a free test. It runs as long as you wish, as long as the battery is lasting. We've had tests run for longer than an hour doing this mode. So you just go to continuous mode test. You can put in your vehicle, engine and section number details. Again, it's going to want to zero the instrument. So you need to have the probe in the open air or disconnect the quick connect fitting at the back from the hose. And now it's ready to start the test. During continuous mode, there is no red label instructing you of any particular load on the engine. It's just going to run until you stop it yourself. And that's the 3 test modes.